Hey, we've managed to
Yeah,
get
before I
on.
get cut
It's
off.
been very difficult doing a WhatsApp call. I've got Gary and Ashita here. So hi guys.
Hi.
Hi, Karen. You all right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all right. We eventually got on there. Yes, we're going to have this conversation today because you're both freedom fighters, aren't you?
I think
100%.
everyone is a freedom fighter that's against this tyrannical government.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the thing is, it's always been there in our face, all the lies. But this is the one that everyone can see so blatantly. But some people don't see it, and there's people out there that believe it to the letter, and they're the ones I think to myself, you're never going to get through to them. So I try and work on people that are sitting on the fence or halfway one way or the other, because there's some people never going to get it, young and old, not just sort of like old people, but young people as well.
Spot on. I'm pretty much there. There's some days I wake up and I'm like, do you know what? Like, just let them all get jabbed. I don't care.
Do you know what it might be? I mean, it doesn't answer everything, but I had a hangout with the Devil's Playground. He's written a book. That's his channel name. And basically, he's worked out that Jesus had an H in it. So actually, he was called He's Us. He's Us. And basically, the first generation, it's not the first generation of humans or like humans. There was titans, elongated headed people, giants. They were the first ones. Then the second ones come with Adam and Eve, and they're evil. They're the people that believe in the masks and everything. And then the third ones come. They're what do you call it? They're not hybrids, but they're the third generation, and they've got connection to source, and they've got the empaths in it, and we have connection with source, and the other ones don't, and they're never ever going to see what we're on about. They're never going to get it. And the whole point, you said, is they've done this to stop empaths, because we will tell everybody and wake everybody up, and they've done that to stop empaths working, being born, the whole thing.
Do you know what I would just like? I would just like people just to listen to another point of view, not necessarily agree with you, because I used to be like a bull in a china shop down at sort of like Speaker's Corner first of all, but I learned to sort of like listen to other people's point of view. But with this, some people just don't listen to you. They just turn around and say, you're not a doctor, how do you know? You tell them like 600 doctors have
I know, it's
out,
so blatant, isn't it? You say about two words and they go, dismiss, dismiss. They just cannot take it on board.
It's almost like a vow. It's almost like a vow, Karen, coming over them. It's like they're suddenly just possessed, and that is it. Boom! They look at you like you're absolutely bonkers, and doesn't matter what evidence you put in front of them. It really doesn't matter, and we've all been there by now, obviously, and it's quite soul destroying, because this is, out of all of them, this is the easiest one to get. If you're not going to get this one, I don't bother talking about flat Earth or the moon landings and water people. There's no point, because if they can't get this one, they're not going to get none of that. There's no point. I'm wasting my time.
What about you, Ashita?
Well,
you feel the same? Yeah.
Yeah, no. I just think we've got to a stage in life where, if you honestly, like Gary said, if you can't see what is right in front of you, I mean, they're telling us. They're literally telling us the truth. So it's not like...
Well, I think they do. I think what it is they put it out in documents, and they put it out in places, and they do kind of tell you the truth, but you've got to find that information, and if you don't find it, you don't know.
But that's the thing, but there's enough people that are saying, even celebrities that are speaking out, MPs that are speaking out against the narrative, and people are still dumbfounded when you feed them the same information that a bunch of scientists telling them in the first place. Even the WHO have several times said masks are not efficient. They'll never ever stop a virus. They've even turned around and said that lockdowns will never work. So why are we still going ahead? Why are we...
Because there's lots of people that stupidly believe it, and they want to demoralise the people. They're probably harping us at the same time. It's probably what all those boxes were on, the masks. It's to harp us and keep us under control. I mean, we don't watch the television. Gary doesn't watch it, you don't watch it, I don't watch it, and lots of other people don't watch it, but there are millions that do. Even flat earthers do. They need to
But I
turn it
think
off.
it's more a case of fear. Like it really is a case of fear because I know loads of other people who don't watch TV, but still wear a mask because they don't want to stand out against the crowd or be challenged. I'm not going to say authority because a shop is not really authority. It's just a shop of convenience for you
It's
to go
the
buy things.
corporations, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. People are too scared. No one is ever taught their rights. No one is ever taught law. You're just told, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. That's it. But if you really were to go in and look at your rights as a human sovereign, we have so much power. It's really telling, especially this year with a lot of businesses using the Magna Carta, a lot of people, just even general people in the public, standing up against the police. I've watched countless of videos where I've just seen the police literally they don't know what to say after that.
No.
And
Oh my goodness, everybody's
I
messaging
think
me. Hang on, Ashita, hang on. I'm just getting messaged all over the place. Right, carry on now. Messages were coming in. Can I just, so that everybody
sorry.
knows what you do, Ashita, what do you like doing? What do you do when you go out? You go to marches, you go all over the place. What do you do? Oh my goodness, they're messaging like mad. Please stop messaging me. 1 second. I'm going to have to tell them to stop messaging me. I'm going to say stop messaging, please, for half an hour.
Put your phone on night mode or silent mode, and then that way. Or is it your PC?
No, I'm on my phone. I'll just message them and say, please stop messaging.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it might be easier to put it on night mode. That way, the calls, the texts and stuff will still come through, but you just
right. Well, we'll go on for now, but that's just a bit annoying. Everybody's gone mad now. I'll just say don't message right now. I'm on a hangout. They'll probably write back, okay, and they'll ping my phone again. Sorry, Ashita, explain what you do.
I know. I just been documenting the protests. It kind of started off with. Actually, no. The first one was the anti-lockdown. It was just after the restrictions were lifted. That was the first protest that I'd ever attended in my life, and it just kind of went on from there. Every weekend there's been a protest ever since. Yeah, when was it? May? Was it May? Yeah. And I think the one thing I try and do is give you if you were there for the day, this is kind of what happened from my perspective, that is, honestly. But at the same time, I'm also kind of doing some investigation. Mostly with the police, I think, because I've seen quite a few strategies that they've used. A few times during different protests, they've used a protest for a training session. So they're fully aware. It's almost like they want us to do this risk assessment so that they know how many people are turning up and what kind of training session they can do. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, yeah, I was a bit shocked when I made these videos, and basically hello? We back?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think Gary might have gone because you're a bit
I can
louder.
hear you.
You're a bit louder now.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
They psychologically train these people. They go and make accidents and things happen. They've got to look like they're dying, and then that goes on the 10 o'clock news. They're just actors making these stories up.
Well, this is the thing. We're not even making the news. We'll be lucky if we even manage to get a clip on the newspaper, on television. They're happy to take photos all day long and report whatever it is they want. But the thing is, if they were to show it on the news, it would be a different picture because no one's been violent, no one's dying. You know, they're saying it's a deadly virus, yet X amount of people are protesting and no one seems to be dropping ill. You know.
Yeah, I went into a shop the other day and this woman was going, get away from me, and then she was going, have some respect and all this at me, and I'm like, oh. I said, you'll be one of the first people to have the injection, won't you? They don't get it. They
You know what?
actually believe that it's happening to them when it isn't. But anyway, we have to be
They
a bit
believe
careful.
I think they're living like in an alternative universe because, you know, they're actually believing it word for word, and you know they don't think to themselves, hang on a minute, I don't actually know anyone that's died. Now, apart from old people that probably had existing health conditions anyway, and with a 93% sort of like false positive rate, and you know, most old people are going to show up. But Cristiano Ronaldo has been tested 3 times and he's had 3 positives, and now he has to self-isolate for 14 days. Well, I mean, someone super fit like him, even he's sort of like chirps up now and said, I can't work this out. You know, how on earth have someone like me been tested 3 times and got 3 positives? And then I know people that are as sick as a parrot where I live, because a lot of old people and they get tested and they get negative. So it's obviously like it's complete fabrication. And what about the people? I sent you that video about the guy like that put it. I know a sheet sent it to me first of all, with the guy that sort of like just put it back in the package, didn't he? And he never even done a test, and it come back positive.
That's just
So
It's
stupid.
ridiculous.
that's
Yeah,
just incredible.
So stupid. And this is the thing, all the test centres, I mean, before the people started documenting the test centres anyway, they had this one up in London, which was actually going through Hyde Park. So it's literally out, it's exposed, you can see everything. And I would go past it, like let's say around midday, come back like several hours later, go past it, and it's still dead. Like there's literally nobody there. And I was just thinking, like, surely, firstly, that's just the most weirdest place to have it, which is on the main road, right next to a cycle park. Anyone can see it. It's not closed off. Just as you enter in Hyde Park. And you would think, of all the money and the fact that these are very, like, sensitive kind of tests, you would have thought that they would have had it in a secure building or somewhere, I don't know, just
Well,
out of prying eyes.
James showed us one with his mum. Basically, they stop in the car, they put the thing up the nose, and he's just saying, "Well, if you've got it, if she had got it, we've all got it because it's airborne, and because they just put the thing up the nose and then put it in a thing, that would then be in the open air, and then that would go on. It's ridiculous. How can you do a test in the open?"
That's what I say. It's like you just have to look at the testing grounds to know, like, am I going to get a test there? I've never had to take a test outside. Why on earth am I going to go outside to take a... And sorry, even when you look at the way they're doing that test, I've never, ever, ever seen any kind of test where you have to suffer like that. And there is no way that thing has been shoved up my nostril. There is no way. I will punch whoever tries. Like, it's an unnatural. It looks painful. It looks like, you know, yeah, no. I just know that I'm not going to do the test, and I'm going to have to be shot before any of that happens.
Here. That's the way, exactly the way I feel. And I mean, another thing as well, if people only use their own thought patterns, like, you know, they go down to sort of like Tesco's and Sainsbury's, mixing with loads of people, and you know, it's impossible to avoid people. I mean, I go down there every day where I live, but then now they're shutting the pubs on Thursday and gymnasiums and whatever. And you know,
aren't gyms staying open?
Because
one of the news headings the other day said that we can go to the gyms, but schools are staying open and colleges are staying open.
No, the gyms are closed because my mate told me today. He said, like, his mate just rejoined the gym and they said they're closing the gym down again. So it just started up again.
Schools, I just heard recently as well. So I think schools will be closing down as well.
Right.
I don't know who. I think that was.
You know why? Because they got us in a lockdown, and then the heading today said this is going to last for months.
Well, they're saying that this is only until the 2nd of December, which is a load of bollocks.
It's going to go on for months.
It's going to go on forevermore. It's going to go on forevermore because the thing is, this is the start of it. This has been planned like for years and years and years. So the thing is, it's going to just go on and on and on to next year, the year after, and all the way to sort of like 2030. You know.
But do you not feel like they're doing this intentionally to get us to resist? Imagine if this was all part of the plan, or to get us so pissed off, have to, you know, react to something finally.
Yeah, they want Hello?
Hey, I'm still here.
Yes, all right. They want martial law, that's why.
Of course they do. That's why they keep pushing it. But it's so obvious. Like, as long as we don't react to what they want, I think we'll be fine. I honestly think.
But come
they're
on,
hoping
Sheeta,
for
we closed down for 6 months without one soldier and one police officer. Well, Gary's gone. We'll wait for Gary will come back in. But we've already done the peaceful thing. I mean, there are programs all over YouTube called Crime Watch Daily where he did this, she did that. That's how they killed them, and they need to go to prison. Oh, the police are involved. Oh, but we closed down the whole world overnight without one officer and one police officer, a soldier.
Of course. But the reason they want the military on the streets is because they know for a fact they can't enforce vaccines on people through the police force. That's not what the police force are there for. So it's almost
No, they're using soldiers to do it though. They're using the military to do it.
Yeah, but they're like a bunch of babies. Have you seen?
Gary, we can hear you. Gary, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm back again.
Cool,
I just
you're
cut
back.
off for a little while.
That's all right. Yeah, I'm glad you're back. But yeah, sorry, Sheeta was saying something. Go on, Sheeta.
Oh yeah, go on.
I was just saying that they're a bunch of babies. They barely look even 20 years old. What, do you think they're going to be able to stand up against a bunch of angry people? No.
But do you know what I think it's to do with? I actually think that when they shut us down last time, we still should have kept going to the hospital, and the hospitals are empty, and that's what's not worked. So they've got to do it to us again and again. But we already knew there'd be a second wave.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I really don't know what to make of this second wave.
Well, because we've got to be digital. They're turning us into a digital society, so they've got to. At the end of it, we're not going to own anything at this rate because none of us, they're all gonna. They're going to own it.
There's going to be a few corporations. A few corporations are going to own everything. They're going to just that. Because last time with the last lockdown, a lot of these little shopkeepers really suffered. But this time, they're not going to be able to soldier.
They've taken out. They've taken out self-employment. They've taken that out. They've ruined that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be completely honest though. Right at this stage, I keep saying it is down to the business owners this is their fight. Like me, you, and every other person who does not own a business is only affected because of jobs, right? So if the business owners are not able to grow a spine, learn a little bit about their rights, and it's not even like they have to do much because there's plenty of people doing, the paperwork side of things for them. Put a notice outside your door, and all you have to do is just stand your ground, repeat the same thing. Don't enter into a commerce contract with the police officers, or there's enough videos out there, So I honestly think if your business suffers this time round, then that's down to you for being weak and not standing up for your business. It's your livelihood. I might not own anything, but I will definitely stand up for my livelihood, which is my life. They come at me trying to say that you have to have vaccine or you have to do this kind of things. I will say no.
Just say VAC from now on. Just say VAC from now on. YouTube are a bit funny about us saying stuff, so just say VAC.
Oh, okay.
That's all right.
Okay.
We're not accumulating it to a certain word. That's be all right, but they're very anti.
I wonder how many people, Karen, are actually going to ask what is in the VAC, because I don't think most of the general population ain't going to ask, are they? They're not going to say what are the ingredients or inside it. They just go along with it.
No one's ever asked, what's the ingredients inside the VAC. Sorry. So I don't think they're going to even ask this time round now. The only ones that will ask are the ones who maybe have it enforced on them.
There is something else they've been doing. I saw it advertised it was on an advert before a video. And basically, they're fitting these little boxes onto the masks, onto lampposts, these little boxes. I don't know what that has to do with it. And they work on microwaves, and HAARP is microwave. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to use HAARP on us even more. It makes you feel depressed. It makes you feel depressed.
Do you think a combination of the VAC plus the microwave, it's like a double bubble, isn't it?
I'll be honest. So when is it? What are we on? Monday. So last week, after the protest last Saturday, you know, the one in Trafalgar. Well, we had a march. It wasn't in Trafalgar, but we marched through central London. So I was fine on a Sunday. I was fine on Monday during the daytime. But Monday morning, I went out to do a little training session on my wheel. It was super cold, really, but it was sunny at the same time. But it was just really, really cold. So I finished my training session, went back home, carried on with the edit, finished the edit, and then by the evening, I started to feel like a temperature. Really, really bizarre. Just came on, and I thought, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, like a microwave thing. I felt that loads of times. They're saying like it's 20 odd degrees, but it feels like 30 odd degrees. You know, it's like a microwave thing going on.
Well, mine, I had the shivers. I was cold. But it was really bizarre because I've never had that kind of 24-hour temperature. Like if I've got a bug, it tends to stay for a couple of days, and I have other side effects. But this one, it wasn't. It was very isolated to just temperature, but I was fine.
Could be that you've got so many masks in London, haven't you?
That's the thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if that. Because my immune system is really strong. I haven't had a cold or cough or anything for years and years. But like I said, I don't know. I just had the temperature. All I did was detox for 24 hours and the temperature disappeared. So for me, I don't know what that was, and I will not. I wouldn't be surprised if it has anything to do. Like, I wasn't serious about 5G before, but now I'm really considering it. If that makes sense, I'm really considering it because it's my body just felt a different sensation to anything that I've ever felt before. You know, when you just know you've been through that. I had swine flu, and that was horrible. That was for like a whole entire week, and I was in bed for like a good 3 days where I couldn't eat anything, and it took about just over a week to recover from that. But this again, as I say, it was just a temperature, but it was the way my body reacted differently.
Me and Gary have talked about the fact that there's just certain times of the day, it's as if your brain goes doo-doo in your head. You can feel it.
Yeah.
You know, I used to think that was maybe spirits or something, but there's a definite, like, it's almost as if you're a computer, and then, I don't know, Gary knows what I mean, don't you, Gary?
Well, look, to be honest with you, I don't feel the same kind of person now as what I was when I was a kid. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the environment feels different for me. You know, back in the 60s, I don't know, everything seemed different then, and it's only in the last sort of like, you know, not just even before this, so the last 10, 15 years, I've felt a change. I've just felt a change. I sometimes hear a buzzing as well. There's some kind of buzzing, which I don't know what is. You know, it's like a lot of people have said this.
Yeah,
I don't know whether
I
it's...
call it a frequency. Like
Yeah, it goes through your head.
It's like, it's a very subtle, like, kind of noise in the background that I hear anyway. And it just comes out of nowhere. Like, I might be doing something, and then it's like someone's just turned on a frequency or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very strange, isn't it? Very strange.
Mind you, we're all very sensitive people, aren't we? Maybe if you've got your television on, or you're not awake, or whatever it is, you don't notice it.
No,
but we're awake people.
This has only happened within the last, I would say the last year and a half, maybe 2 years fully. I honestly, like, as I said, I was not considering the G stuff before, and until recently, and it kind of makes sense with the frequency, why you're hearing that weird frequency, and a lot of the descriptions people have given regarding, you know, the G.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like a weird kind of buzzing sound. Sometimes I hear it like when I'm sort of like waking up in the morning. You know, it's like it's not tinnitus. I know it isn't tinnitus. That's a completely different
No, but
thing.
if you had to explain it, I think that's what it is. It's like getting a bout of tinnitus for about 10 seconds, and then it goes.
Yeah. It must be some kind of frequency they're working on, and we're sort of like attuned to it and picking it up, whereas other people probably just don't pick it up. But it definitely happens to me. Definitely, there's no question, because we are electrical beings, aren't we? So it makes perfect sense that if they can get the right frequency, they can tap into it and do all sorts.
My fear
and
was, do you remember when all
would
those
be.
deer died a couple of years ago? I was wondering whether they were trying to work out our frequency to turn us off. We've got an electrical pulse
quite
in our
possibly.
heart and our heads. If they learn how to mess them about, I don't know. But
it does make sense, actually. Yeah.
It was just I don't know. I just thought about it.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they know a lot more in terms of. I mean, what's your take on this RNA in the back for the DNA stuff? You know, where it can alter.
Yeah, I've heard
your
that.
DNA
They can,
and
alter your DNA. I've heard that. But you never know whether some of it is to frighten us. But I can't believe that they're pushing something so much when we don't need it because there's nothing wrong.
Well, this is the thing. I don't think. So, I honestly believe if everything's pointing out to DNA, and they seem to have been trying to get control of a lot of people's data. Why? Why do you need to collect people's data unless you need to know a lot about a person's information? Now, the thing that's come up is eradicating free will. Now, the biggest threat to them, if you really think about it, is free will. They cannot control a population if people still have free will. Now, even though we're enslaved psychological, we still have free will. People can still be broken. That spell can still be broken for people to choose to say, no, I'm not going to participate. So if they remove free will even from those people that are awake, they have total control, 100% control of us. So
I did say, didn't I, that even if it sounds a bit far-fetched, when I had this hangout the other day with the Devil's Playground, when he said that there are empaths and people who are awake, and we come from divine, and they don't want empaths here because empaths will tell you the truth, and then the rest end up coming from this Adam and Eve line, and they're all the people wearing the masks and not listening, and he said they can't listen. They actually just can't listen. They can't listen. They can't see. They can't.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what evidence you put in front of them. It doesn't matter. It seems like they get a glazed look comes over them, and they just carry on with their day and say, "Well, no, I'm."
Even my own children
sort of
talk to me like that. My own children.
Yeah, it's very strange, isn't it? How they don't look at an alternative point of view, and they're not gonna. This is the trouble. How many people are we gonna wake up with this? This is the question, isn't it? Or we got to go with what we've got, basically, because by now, it's over half a year down the line. The people that are gonna see it have seen it, and they like me and you, Karen, see it the first day. But then you've got people that still think there's something out there, but it's not as bad as what it is. Or you get people like us that think it's like more like the blinking hoax end. Then you get people that believe every single bit, And I think you've got more the middle ground and the end ground than us. That's the trouble. Well, how are we going to change that?
But it is hard, isn't it, though, Gary, for everybody to realise that their whole life is a lie. Their whole life is a lie, and they don't realise it.
But then,
well, do you know something? It's easier. Listen, it's a lot harder to convince people they've been lied to, and just tell them fresh lies, because it is not within them to turn around and say, "My God, everything is that I've ever known is wrong." It's easier for people to accept a lie than to realise they've been lied to. You get me? And they just go along with it.
I don't know about Ashita, because obviously she's a bit of a younger lass here, but you wake up and then you keep waking up because more information comes out, and you look at it and you go, "Oh my God, we learnt through it. Took a few years." So now, we've had so much information, and of course now we're on this. But we already, I don't know about Ashita, did it take you it's like, first of all, you wake up, but you still think, oh, well, I'm going to vote for this. And then after a while you realise, no, I can't vote for them because they're not real. It takes a little bit of time for it all to click in, doesn't it?
can't honestly say that that was the case. I think I was one of the lucky ones that I was knew from quite a young age. Not that I always knew, but I was just blessed with, I don't know, something that prevented me from being brainwashed. For me, it was very easy to accept different
Gary,
things
we
that
can
people
hear
were
you,
telling
by the
me.
way. It comes out on the Hangout. Try not to move around. Another...
Oh, right, okay.
Sorry, darling. Another
No, it's
headline
not. I'll
comes
tell you
on.
what it is. No, I'm outside, and I think it's the wind. I'm outside at the moment, near
Okay.
the route, you see. That's what it is.
Okay, carry on. Sorry, carry on, Ashita.
I don't think it's a case of whether you're old or young. I think it's a case of you as an individual, and where I don't know if you believe in like past lives and all that kind of stuff, but I think to a degree you're either one of those souls that that's already awoke. You're just waiting for someone to activate you, or not. You know, for me, the way I woke up was someone was talking about the Illuminati. I can say that, right? I don't think they're too much of a threat, but yeah, you know, someone told me about that, sent me a video. I went back home, watched it, and shat my pants. I was like, I couldn't believe that was happening, and I still to this day remember how I felt. I hid underneath the covers. I kind of freaked out thinking that there was spy cameras everywhere in my room, and there was bugs like microphones, you know, kind of like the Truman Show scenario where there's like everyone's watching you. I just remember having that feeling, and ever since that, it's like every bit of information that I've come into, I've not dismissed it. I've just taken it aboard. If I didn't understand it, I looked a little bit further. But it was easy for me to put it this way. When I was at school and being educated and being told about life and this place and everything about this place, a lot of it didn't make sense of it. Like, it didn't make sense to me. I felt confused. And, you know, when you don't really want to ask questions because you've asked questions in the past and that never went well with the teacher, or, you know, people laugh at you, you know, that kind of scenario. So you never ask questions again. But I remember thinking there was a lot of stuff that didn't make sense to me. So I honestly do think it's more down to the individual and what their past life was about.
Right. Okay. Good answer there.
Because
I knew as a child, though, Ashita. I knew as a child that I was here for something. I just did. Oh, we've lost Gary. He'll be back in a moment. I was about 7 when I knew that I was going to be here for something. I just did.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think I just had different experiences as a kid, but I was just more into my sports and sort of stuck with that. I didn't really look into anything until I was at least 20. I think it was around about 20, and again, it started off with the whole Illuminati and, you know, the money system being a lie, and 9/11. And I'll be honest, I've never looked back. I don't regret it. And I think it is down to whether you have a curious mind or not. I think if you've got a curious mind, you'll always look at things. But if you don't...
Well, the thing is that YouTube's changed quite a lot, because they used to have all this stuff about 9/11. Gary! And then you could find...
Hello?
You're making a lot of noise, Gary. It comes out on the thingy bob. But anyway, you found 9/11 and you found Flat Earth. You found many videos. Now they've changed all the algorithms, and oh my god, I can't get past the messages. Sorry, everybody. And now they've taken all that out. So, like Gary says, I think those that are awake, that's what will carry forward, because there isn't anywhere for you to go and look up now to find out about things unless you stumble across it or someone sends you a video. Because they've changed all the algorithms.
Well, yeah, they have changed. I mean, it's a case of just deep searching now. I mean, even my video that I just put out this week, if you copy and paste the exact words that's on my title into the search menu, I come up as 7th. So, but what they've done is they've made sure that all the mainstream channels. So, for example, so if you type in Freedom Rally, blah 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 blah, it will show you Sky News, BBC News, all the news programs, and then a couple of really, dodgy channels before you get to mine. So it is a case of just people being patient, and also, I think the best way for you to get the real source of information is through your friends now. I don't think even going through YouTube. If you've known someone who's awake, who's been speaking out against a narrative for years, even if it's not about, Rona, if you've got a friend who was speaking out about something else, they will be able to find the right information or the right sources for you. I think that's the only way
Something
you're
like
going to be able to
YouTube,
get
they put you
the
on
real
a
information.
I don't know about you, Ashita, but they put me on a low algorithm. So people coming to
What do
the
you mean?
channel, well, basically I'm on such a low algorithm, like they almost put you at the bottom, so that nobody's really going to find you.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the case. I remember when I was trying to find your new channel, it took me a little while to find it. They've got their clever ways of, hiding things and, manipulating.
Well, I don't think any of these
situations,
platforms are
so-
very good, to be honest. They're all part of them, and they're watching us. That's what they're doing.
Do you know? Shall I tell you something? I got a Samsung tablet, and it was playing up. So what I did, I sort of like give it a complete reset, and then I try to sort of like get all the channels I used to watch before, and you can't get them anymore. That's what that's the trouble, Karen.
Yeah.
The other day, if you sort of like get a new. So what I did basically, I'm starting off now with even though it's like 10 years old or whatever, I'm starting off with a new tablet, and all the channels I watch, like yours and all the others, you can't seem to get them. No matter what you do, you're sort of like you're just sort of like thrown to something else. Like for argument's sake, if you was to look at Flat Earth, like they'll just throw you to the Flat Earth Society or Vsauce or one of them idiots. You know what I mean? It's like it's very hard. It's very hard for people.
Yeah, I think you only move on if you
off.
start sharing the videos between us all. We just have to keep sharing our videos.
Yeah, because if you start from fresh, I don't think you can do it anymore. Not the way we've been doing it.
What we need is like a world database or data bank, whatever you want to call it, and it's somewhere like where it's just a website. It's got no relation to YouTube or Facebook or any of these other sites, and you can basically just go there and put, like, let's say I don't know how it's going to work, but it's just where all the truth channels can just post their, I don't know, like a weekly video or something, and then that's a link to their channel or their website or
I do know what you mean. I actually joined Library to get, in case, because obviously YouTube don't really like me. So I joined Library, and all it did was mirror my YouTube channel. So Library's not separate. BitChute might be, but Library isn't. But people do put more on Library, and they're not as kamikaze on there. But I couldn't believe it. It just mirrored my channel.
Yeah, no, I'm struggling with, like, I know BitTube is very limited with the file sizes that you can put on there. So again, that's no good for me. I was looking at Library, but it felt really complicated when I was trying to set up, because it was trying to tell me about points or something.
Yeah, it's
that
annoying.
I
like the layout of YouTube. I just don't like them very much.
No, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's what they've done. They've allowed us to buy into the system.
Yeah, because if you remember, when you first looked at YouTube, you could see horrible things. I mean, really horrible things, like dogs being burnt alive and all that. And now all that's gone. Now you can't find anything you want. And all they do is direct you. Like, if I painted my nails and we talked about that, thousands or millions of people could have watched it, but we don't. So I'm on a low algorithm.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think I will still use YouTube and all of these platforms until like a really decent one comes on where I'm satisfied with it to start with.
We need a flat Earth. We need a flat Earth one.
We need something. It's time consuming, I'm. You've been at this way longer than me, so I feel for you when your channel got taken down, and a lot of people's channels are getting just
2. I've lost 2. The
taken
original
down.
Sun and Moon had nearly 10,000 subs, and Unscrambled had nearly 6. I mean, nearly 6. So that's nearly 16,000 subs they took off me.
Wow.
Which isn't the most.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, you know, like some channels have hundreds of thousands of people, but they took
No,
that
but
away, and you've got to start again on an even lower algorithm than you were before.
And it's difficult to even get to 500 subs. Like, come on, you know, it's not easy.
Well, do you know what they've done to me
building the
right
subs.
now? I wasn't going to do this, but, you know, YouTube, I spend a lot of work and time on YouTube, so I did it. I monetised Sun and Moon in June, and I'm still in progress from June. That's July, August, September. That's 4 months they've kept me in progress. So they're not saying no, they're not saying no, and they're not saying yes. How better to keep people like me, so we can't do, and there's nobody to write to, and there's nothing you can do.
I know. I was having a dilemma with trying to upload the video for 3.5 days. They just, I don't know what they did, but they were preventing me from processing the video. So the video would upload, but then it would just be sat in the processing section at 0% for like hours and hours. I think once was 24 hours, and I was like, what the fuck? So
I think it might be a bit different. Are you uploading on your phone or the computer?
PC. The only reason I managed to upload is because I had to transfer it onto my iPad to upload it that way. It wasn't doing it through the PC. So but again, I've never had that before. I've uploaded bigger files than that with no issues whatsoever. But this was a whole new rig. And even when I managed to get it onto the iPad, it was asking me to verify my details through my mobile number.
Sorry, that's my son. That's my son messaging me, but I can't message him back. Sorry, that's my son. Right, carry on.
That's all right. So yeah, no, I'm noticing really odd, like, censorship and ways of they're not gonna just take your channel down because then they'll have a lot to answer to if someone
well, they're
dares
taking
to,
2 of mine. They don't care. They don't care taking your channel. And do you know something? I know a lot of people, how they get rid of you is, so say you've got 2 strikes. It doesn't matter what video they pick. They will pick a video and get rid of you. They gave me a strike.
Yeah, okay.
I copied it off someone else. He didn't get a strike. I got a strike from copying it from him.
Right.
And a lot of people say the same thing. They copy videos and the other person doesn't get a strike, but you do.
That's odd.
If they want you to go,
it's
they
almost
don't
like
care. They'll find something to strike you on. And do you know what? You know, like I told you, I've been in process June, July, August, September, October. And yet when they do an appeal, it took them 10 minutes to reject me. 10 minutes, as if that's real.
Well, this is the thing. I don't know, like, how or who picks and chooses what team it is that picks and chooses. Because, like you say, you can't get in contact with anybody unless you're paying for the service. There's like 0 customer service unless you're
if you're accepted into the
strike.
monetary thing, you can write to them. But what it is because obviously it was monetized on Unscrambled. But what it is you get through to them, and the moment you mention anything, it's one of those conspiracy people, and they're not allowed to talk to us. And the YouTubers are not allowed to talk to us.
We're just trying to suppress it, aren't they? And it's just going to get worse and worse. I think it's definitely not going to get better, is it? That's why we got to do as much as we can while we can. To be honest with you.
Also, not just the Sheeta goes out on the streets. You do as well, don't you, Gary? You go and stand on Hyde Park Corner trying to tell people, don't you?
Yeah. What I find it difficult when I notice when they go for long marches and all that. With my medical condition, it's quite hard for me to walk long ways, But I do as much as I can do, It's just when they're marching, when they go for a long walk and all that. Maybe I can meet them at the other end. I can jump on a bus or something and meet them at the other end. I don't know.
Well, you're doing a lot more than most fucking people who got.
Well, at least I'm doing.
Yeah, at least you go out, Gary. Most people don't. Excuse me, I've just got to tell my dog to shut up. She's now barking. Hang on, you carry on. I'm just going to let the dog out. I don't want her barking in the background. It's bad enough.
I
with all
know
the
plenty
messages.
of people who. I know plenty of people who give it all the mouth and, you know, this and that.
They don't actually do
no,
anything to cheat, do they? They're saying they're going to do things.
You
And
don't
don't
even
actually do
have
it.
to show like a physical macho side to you. You just like a
No.
post. Anything, even not wearing that poxy mask is a stand, you know. But no, I will see these people wearing masks and bitching and moaning behind their screens and like their doors and shit. And it's like those are the kind of people that I actually want to rip into the most because.
But have you seen these other people when you go to a supermarket, they get their trolley and they cover it in disinfectant and then clean it all down. So what happens is if some next woman don't want that, she's going to unfortunately get sort of like all this bloody bleach or whatever it is like all over her fruit and her veg and whatever, you know. They don't care, do they? And you know another thing as well, I see people throwing masks away everywhere. It's like they don't pick them up and put them in a bin. They just leave them lying around everywhere.
But that's the thing.
You know?
There's no hazardous bins for this fucking deadly virus. You know that they're trying to. This is another thing. How can you not have hazardous bins? They'll have hand sanitizer on the streets, but they're not going to have hazardous bins for these stupid masks.
I know it just doesn't make sense, does it?
You would have thought, like, okay, hang on a minute. If this virus is so deadly and you're telling us to wear masks and, you know, the fact that bacteria is just building on those masks and people are going to drop them on the floor or whatever, there is not a single hazardous bin in London that I've seen and in most of the other cities that I've been.
But
You know,
the bit that makes me laugh, some people, they turn around and say, oh no, I actually wear my mask because it's a fashion statement. I've actually had that. Can you believe that? It's fashion. I'm not wearing it because I'm wearing it because it's fashionable to wear it.
Well, they did that indoctrination with the Snapchat facial swap, you know, where you could get like the cute ears and like I don't exactly know what it's called, but it's like a filter, and it either gives you like cat ears or dog ears or whatever ears and whiskers and all this stuff. And there was one that was going around with the masks. There was a filter with the masks, and people were, of course, people were like, oh, this looks really cool, really cool. So anyone who was into that stuff, it's an indoctrination that they did a couple of years ago. So all those people who were saying I'm wearing it because it's a fashion statement, they're the ones who were using those filters and saying, yeah, it's kind of cool, it's kind of cool. So again, they've managed to, they've covered all their corners. And again.
But the thing is, Shay, you know as well as I do, how many more people now are we going to be able to like convince about this, or have we got to work with the numbers we got? Because
I'm done.
You know, this is the thing. You know, some of the people now, I can tell the ones I can speak to and the ones that I can't, because a lot of the mask wearers and the glove wearers, there's no point. You're wasting your time. They look at you like you're bloody mad.
I don't bother with them. I'm done talking and I'm done giving advice. They're fucking grown-ass adults. They're able to go look at the information themselves. I'm not going to say when, but if you know the Rona stuff gets implemented for mandatory fee. If they go get jabbed and they die, that's on their head. It's got nothing to do with me. It's not my problem because I know I'm not going to get it.
I think people will be queuing up when that comes out. They won't have to. People won't have to worry about people coming and knock on people's doors and all that, because I think you're going to get hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions, queuing up for it.
Mind you, one good thing though, Gary, is listen. Before we were locked down, they were going to hospitals for colds and stupid things, sitting in that room waiting to see a doctor. You know, what do you call it, the outpatient thing? And you go, what do you call it? In the hospitals where you go.
Outpatients.
Yeah. You go there and you wait hours to see a doctor. The moment they locked us down, we stopped going to the hospitals, and I think that's the mistake. They wanted us to keep going to the hospitals, but we didn't.
Yeah.
What they're doing is they're desecrating businesses. At this rate, we're going to. I mean, maybe the National Health. Well, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing once you realise what they're doing to us and the medication and even chemotherapy is mustard gas. Why the hell would you be giving people mustard gas? You know, we're going to lose the national health. That's what's going to happen.
Karen, I think sorry, I think I'm going to have to cut out. I'll tell you why. It's blowing a gale down here, and it's going to end up ruining the podcast. And I'm getting freezing as well, so I think I'm going to go back upstairs.
No, I don't blame you.
All right.
Oh, it's been really nice that you joined the call, Gary.
Yeah, well, I thought I had to sort of like, have a little chat because, me and the street are good mates, and obviously you are as well. So, but I think I'm going to go up before I freeze to death.
Oh, bless you.
All right, my darling.
Go and get warm.
All right, I love you both, and I'll speak to you both soon. Yeah.
All right, my darling.
Are you coming on Thursday? Are you going to come on Thursday?
What's on Thursday? Hang on. Oh, Thursday. Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I will try. I'll let you know. All right.
All right. Well, keep me posted. Text me or call me.
Yeah, I will.
All right?
I will. Yeah.
All right. Have a good night.
I love you both.
Gary.
See you soon. Yeah.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye, Gary.
Bye.
We'll just talk for a bit longer. Bye, Gary. What's happening on Thursday then, Ashita?
It's the Million Mask Parade.
Right.
This has got nothing to do with like any of the movements. This is just the Guy Fawkes. Bonfire.
Right.
So usually they.
You're cutting out.
Have like protest and
You're back
lockdown.
now.
So
You're back now. Sorry, you just cut out a little bit. So say that a bit again.
I was just saying that it's just the second lockdown after Guy Fawkes, isn't it? So.
It's the second today.
So we'll see.
What you want to see how many people turn
Thursday.
up to it? You mean? Is that what you mean? You'll be interested to see how many.
See.
Sorry, the line went a bit funny then.
I'm not fussed about the numbers. I'm just, I was always going to go anyway because it's my birthday on that day. So it's just going to be interesting because it's a second lockdown and obviously a lot of people are not happy about it. So we will see what happens.
Right.
I will not be surprised if they stage an attack though, just to try and implement the military on the streets or something. Would not surprise me at all.
That's not good though, is it?
No, obviously it's not, but you can tell that they've been trying to, start something. They were hoping for riots or something to justify a civil unrest here in the UK, but we're not, I don't know, we're...
Do you know what's really annoying is that all the people that go to the protests are peaceful people, and then the police turn up and then it's a riot.
Well, that's the thing. They're intentionally doing that to try and aggravate people into a fight, so that they can say, "Look, these conspiracy theories."
Do you remember when we were together? Do you remember when we were up in the park? It was about July time, and those police officers came over to us. I mean, we did have a couple of cans on us. We did, but they said to us they didn't have to wear masks.
It's not crime.
Yeah, but they could come at you because you had alcohol, and they were trying to split everybody up. And they said that they didn't have to wear the masks as they're part of whatever it was. They didn't have to wear them, but we did. I just find that incredible.
Yeah, well, I say to people, don't engage with them. It's just simple. Like, everyone knows this. They know that the moment you engage with the police officers, you're entering into some sort of contract with them. So walk away. Walk around the corner.
And do you know what's really sad about that, Ashita? Police officers should be promoting common law. That is their law. And they're not. They're promoting corporate law.
Yeah, because that's what they've been trained. They don't. I'd be surprised if half the police officers even know anything about common law, or what they're actually supposed to be.
What they're supposed to be promoting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just say to people, just keep doing what it is that you're doing and focus. It's come to a point where you need to just focus on yourself and the people that are on the same train. Those that are still on the fence, that's their problem. they've got the information there. They're grown-ass adults. They can think for themselves.
It is
They've got a
strange, though,
choice.
isn't it? How some of us wake up and see it for exactly what it is, and it's just a Punch and Judy show. And other people believe it all and get away from me, and they're all fearful and they're so angry. They're
Yeah,
angry.
but this is the thing. I don't think they're a majority. They're a very small minority. I've not really had any issues since this whole, business
I'll go to the
kicked in.
supermarket up the road and everybody has got one of those things on their faces.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, everyone's wearing masks, but I would say I don't have any dilemmas where people tell me off for not wearing one. I've not been stopped from going
No,
into
I'm the
shop.
same. I don't wear one, and I've got something that Vertec gave me to say that I don't have to wear one.
Yeah, and I think it's a very small minority that really do buy into the whole Rona thing. But everyone else that's wearing it is they don't have a spine. That's all it is. They really don't have a spine. They don't
The
buy
thing is,
into
you know
it.
what they've done, don't you? When they've done the television, everything tells you what to buy, what to wear, how to feel, how to think, and you become part of the pack. And we're asking people to stand up individually now and do this, and I think that's where they can't do it, because you're asking them to then disbelieve everything they believe. Do you see what I mean? And they can't believe that they would do this to us, but they have.
But this is the thing, a lot of people don't buy into the mainstream media. A lot of people don't buy into they don't trust the government. So, again, I just think it's down to fear, more so than lack of, the information is out there. It's not hard. It really isn't that hard to find it.
And that's if they're interested enough to find it, though, as well, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. Like I say, you've got a nation of people. Majority of them are just on the fence because of fear, purely down to that. A lot of them don't buy into it, and I think if push comes to shove, if they had a choice between getting the jab or not, they wouldn't pick it. But what will happen is they'll have enough threats on them of things being removed and luxuries and all of this kind of stuff, that they will just do it for the sake of convenience and not bothering or hassling people, or just having an easy life, put it that way. So
yeah, that's I think you've hit that on the nail, actually. People just want an easy life, and this isn't easy when you wake up. I do it in a different way. I have a channel. Sometimes I go to the meetings. You go to a lot of the meetings. You put your films out. We try our best, and yeah, we try, don't we?
And that's the thing, and that's why I've just got to a stage where I'm like, well, I've done what I can, and now it's down to each individual to do what it is, because those of us that are awake, we've put in the time and effort to do this research, and this year is 10 steps backwards for a lot of us. We're literally having to go back and regurgitate a lot of information that we've already been saying for ages. It's now got to this point or stage in life where we now have to we're now coming up into the winter solstice. On the 21st of December is going to be one of the most rarest moments that we're ever going to have. We've got the solar flares, the planet alignments, which is going to be the first time in 6,000 years. And not that, it's also going to be the first rebirth of the sun as we head into this new era, this new age. Now, I understand the importance of these kind of dates, and as we're heading out of this age, it's important for us to put our energy, our best thoughts, our best efforts into where it's needed. Now, I'm done waking up people. Now it's time to battle, fight, challenge the right authorities. My battle with the minions, like the normal people, is done. I can't tell them any more than what I've already told them. It's now down to them to get off their asses. If this journey on waking up can only happen if the individual puts in that effort. By you continuously feeding them the information, they'll never wake up. it's no different to them following the mainstream media, and you can see that it did nothing for them there. So by us doing the exact same thing, by just force feeding them information, we're no better than the mainstream media. And I'm not going to waste my time and energy doing that. And I don't think anyone else should. You know, the information is out there for them to look. The information, there's plenty of people talking about it. There's plenty of protests all over the place. So it's time for us, light workers, to bring the fight to the establishments, and also harvest our energy.
What do you think if we did go, like, it may not be Thursday, but say there's another march, but millions of us went? They can't arrest us all, can they?
No. Even 100 people, they wouldn't arrest 100 people. They would just try and pick people off until the group split off. And, you know, that's honestly what I've witnessed within the protests. They can't arrest all of us, and they firstly don't have the space, and...
The police should be disgusted because they're fighting the people, and that's not their job. They're supposed to be protecting us, not fighting us.
Yeah, but you have to realise...
But you can see what the main media... I mean, I don't know how I signed up to Daily Mail. I don't want it, but I suddenly realised that there it was every day on my computer. And it gives every 20 minutes, half an hour, come these headlines during the day, one after the other, talking about CV, over and over with, it's getting worse, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. No, if you're into it, you're going to believe it.
Well, this is the thing. I think, again, it's whether you tune into that frequency or not. I think as long as you don't tune into that frequency, then, I mean, that's what helps me to overcome all of this BS, because if I was to sit there and take anything literal of what they say, then of course it'd drive me nuts. But, you know, they're lying about this place that we live, so why am I going to believe anything else they say? You know,
I'm the same, by the way.
If they can lie about that, well, everything else is a lie. Everything else that they say to me is a lie. And you know, the only way they can get away with this kind of stuff is by us participating. So if you participate in their BS, then it is going to affect you. And I say to people, don't participate in it. You know, yes, live your life as normal. Learn your rights, defend your rights, and stand up for them. But don't participate in their crap. Don't vote. Don't go and watch their... I mean, the only reason I've been watching the news this year is because I've kind of had to pay attention to what they're saying, so I know what I'm posting. But after that video of the woman saying, you know, the what do you call them, the World Health Organization, they've not been able to isolate the you know, Rona, and they're not able to give us any proof to say that it exists, let alone that masks are efficient and work. And to me, that should be, you know, coffin sealed, done and dusted.
The thing is, you know, this bit about voting, I feel the same as you, just don't vote. But what I noticed was, it was by accident, I slowed down this footage when Boris won the election. And basically, you could fit 2 cars in 10 Downing Street. And on the right-hand side, he looks, if you take into consideration how big Boris is, you've got a 15-foot reporter with a 3-foot Boris. Now, they didn't film that yesterday. They filmed that months ago. He never got an 80-seat majority. They lie. And they'll tell everybody. I don't think that many of us voted in our election. I think it was one of the lowest turnouts for elections with all the stuff that's been happening. And then he, you know, because we had Brexit and all that in it. But I do think it was a low turnout on the election. But he put out, I had an 80-seat majority. But he didn't. So that's what they'll do. They'll just carry on lying. If you watch them, you're going to believe it.
I know, and that's the thing. It's I actually watched that video because I think you did one on Trump and the helicopter, And again, they just lie and manipulate us constantly. I don't even know why people, if they don't believe in the mainstream,
I
why
don't think
they
any
even
of the
bother.
videos are real. I think they're all virtual reality or they're all deep faked.
Mm.
For all we know,
And
Trump could have died years ago, but they're just using him. And someone deep fakes him and they pretend he's been abroad. They pretend he's been walking down the streets in New York. They just pretend. Everything's just made up for us. The whole thing. And then, this person didn't want me to put they asked me to take the video down because it was their video, but I did put it out for a while. And Bing Crosby had 15 roles and one of them was Hitler. He was one of the Hitlers. So they were doing this to us in the 1930s. And then I couldn't believe it. Gene Kelly was Dean Martin. Like, they've all got... So he's one of the Dean Martins, and then he's one of... So they just play each other. And they were doing that in the 1930s. So this whole thing that they've been doing to us didn't happen yesterday. It happened years ago. They've been doing it to us for years.
yeah, like I was saying, Alex Jones is
Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks, yeah. So I've seen some crazy videos like that, and for me, it wouldn't surprise me because how else are they going to be able to keep such a lie? They can't tell everyone that,
I think what it is we go to work one day and we go, well, it's Trump today, we need to do a video. Do you want to play him or do I want to play him? Because when you look at Trump, I don't know how people don't notice that his nose changes, his eyes change. They're either virtual reality or they're deep faking them with someone else and then their eyes go black. He doesn't have black eyes or dark brown eyes, Trump. He has sort of these muddy, browny green eyes. He does not have dark brown eyes. He does not have black eyes. And this is what they do. They don't... You see, we didn't notice it. I didn't notice it for a long time, but I do now.
Oh.
It started for me on a case.
A bunch of actors.
It started for me. I always say all the roads lead back to the Watts case. That's where I saw it. I obviously knew what I was, flat earther, and then I hit the Watts case. And first of all, I was protecting Shanann. She'd been murdered, and I was protecting her. And then suddenly the footage came out. All this footage, and none of it made sense. As I slowed it down and looked at it, it was all weird, and the dry footage was weird. By the end of it, the police were involved, the judges were involved, the courts were involved, the police were involved, the media were involved, and the politics was involved. So that's why I say all roads go back to there, because that's where I saw it. And I wasn't expecting when I came over to the politics that was going to be exactly the same. And so I've broken many videos down. They're on Unscrambled. There's some on Sun and Moon. The same thing. It's all the same thing.
It's crazy. And
we can't believe anything we see on that. We can't believe anything we see.
Well, I don't believe anything I'm told or anything I see that comes from them. I only believe in, for me, I just think things will just resonate. When something makes sense and is correct and is the truth, your body tells you, you resonate with the answers. You resonate with what that person is saying.
The thing is, we know, don't we? That's even better. We know. We just know.
It's like we've always had the truth programmed into us, and that's why, you asked me the question, was it easy for you to wake up? And it's like, well, again, it's almost, for me, it's no different to someone in a classroom telling me, the sun is 93 million miles away. But that didn't resonate with me. But when someone told me the sun was local and is a lot closer to Earth, for some reason that totally made sense. I was like, yeah, it's like the truth is always in our encoded within us, and I think it really is just whether that person is. Again, it depends whether you're into the spiritual side of things, and I don't mean reincarnation per se, but
no, I know what you mean. The ones that have awoken are empaths and spiritual mostly, and awake.
Yeah, and I think to a degree that we choose to come back into this life because there is a saying that on this realm is the only realm where we have freedom of choice, this free will that they're trying to eradicate. And why is that? Why is free will such a big thing? You know, it's
I
a
have to
lot of
say though,
people don't.
I'm sure apart from going out to your meetings, you know, you spend a lot of time at home making videos on your computer, connecting with other people like you. So the ones that are already awake spend a lot of time at home. Why do I want to go out there with the sheeple and narcissists? Because that's what most of them are narcissists. Why do I want to go out there
I'll be
with them?
honest, I don't actually spend that much time at home. I'm actually outdoors a lot more. I've always
Yeah, but
been like that as a kid.
yeah, you're a little gem. You are, Ashita.
To be honest, indoors is painful. Like, even just having to be indoors all of last week, that was torture. But I don't know. I just think, I honestly just think it is down to what your past life was, and I think this is just a journey that we're all experiencing right now. This life, and there's no right or wrong. I just think whether it's the key is choice in all of this. It's always been the key. You know, it's the same right now when we're being told that we have to wear masks and all of this stuff. It's a choice. It's whether you can read between the lines or not to discern.
Yes.
You know, they've told us it's not mandatory. They've told us, you know, I don't even to the point, I don't even walk around with an exemption card. I just don't. No one's ever come and questioned me and said, you need to wear a mask. Or where's your exemption card? I've had moments where I've been quite scared to try and get on the tube or something because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the hassle.
Yeah, just so everybody understands that the tubes in London, it says quite regularly on little announcements as well as all over the tubes, you've got to wear one, you've got to wear one. So that's why you're saying that, because and on public transport, the buses.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is what's surprising is like they don't actually enforce it. It's really, I don't know whether you like people who
they don't have to, do they? Because a lot of the sheeple have been sheeple.
Well, I don't know. It's really bizarre. Like, okay, so for example, I had to go help out someone to buy a wheel. And I got off because I don't use the tube, so I ended up getting off at Victoria at the wrong stop and then realised I was like, oh crap. So I was thinking, shit, I'm going to have to speak to the attendant to let me back in without having to tap in again. And there was 3 of them stood there, approached them and I explained what had happened. And I said, I need to get back in because it's actually 2 more stops away. And they
Ashita?
just let me have a mask on. My wheel even said, hello?
Sorry, I lost you just for a second, but you're back now.
Yeah, and, you know, I didn't have a mask on. My wheel said, you know, Rona's a hoax and all of this stuff. And they just let me back in. They didn't ask me to wear a mask or anything. And they were laughing and joking with me. So it was just a really bizarre moment because I was expecting them to say you need to put a mask on, but they didn't.
Yeah, so, it's really strange how they're not going for like there's nobody telling. Yeah, I find that really strange. I think the worst thing is actually the people wearing them. Like I told you, she said you've got no respect and all that crap to me. It's actually the people.
I don't like. I've honestly not had an issue at all with the whole mask thing. It's depressing seeing many people with masks, but I just
especially
try to
as they look at you and think, oh, you look at you. They look at you as the disease. That's what they do. That's the sad part.
No, even that I've not had that either. I'll admit there's people that do stare, but again, as I say, I try and say to people, just don't tune into that frequency. Let them, if they want to wear a mask, let them wear a mask. If they're gonna, it's lead your life by example. So. You know, for me, I say to people, I've never worn a mask and I've never been stopped. It's never been an issue for me because I don't tune into that frequency. So it's almost like because I'm not tuning into that frequency, it's almost like I'm not affected by it. I don't see the people. Maybe some people do say something or give me looks, but because I'm not in that frequency, I'm not letting it bother me or concern me. I don't acknowledge it, or I'm not aware that people give me evils or something. And honestly, it makes my life a lot more easier. The only time I feel depressed, like I say, is when I go shopping, and it's got to a point where I'm actually doing my shopping at night, where there's fewer people, so that I don't have to see that many masked people.
I know what
That's
you mean.
how.
I try and go slightly out of hours, and you might be there's not many people in the shops then. I do the same.
Mm. But I just think, all the people that do know the truth, I just think live your life, continue living your life, leave the muzzle people to stay muzzled. It's up to them. Can't save everyone. You have to save yourself, and even that goes right down to the family members. As much as you love them and, you grew up with them, you can't save everyone, I think the main thing is, as long as you know that you've done what you can to help those people.
Well,
That
sometimes
is,
you have blood families, but you have a bigger family, a soul family,
uh,
and that's what you're left with helping is your soul family, I think. Also, how old are you, Rashita? Just asking roughly.
30s,
Right, you're still a young
early
person.
early 30s. I mean, I'm young, but I wouldn't say I'm that young anymore. I'll definitely say that I'm
The
heading
one service I
into.
think we can all do, because I think you do, is to know who you are as a person. And once you do that, you can be open to the rest. If you don't know who you are, then you won't believe anything that's said to you. You need to know who you are as a person.
Mm, no, definitely. I think.
And don't forget, not that I'm making excuses and you said, right, it's up to them, but just say I was one of them. I've got work, I've got children, I've got bills, I've got the television, I've got this, I've got that, I don't like. And they keep people so confused in their brains. And don't forget, they could be on medication, all that kind of stuff, which also partakes it from yourself. Once you take an antidepressant, say, it partakes your feelings away, stops you connecting to your higher self. And it goes on and on like that. So there's millions of people that are stuck in that just don't even know.
But this is the thing, you can't save everyone. So you have to put your energy where it's best needed. I'm not going to change the world, or neither of us, anyone who's awake is not going to change the world by waking up the sheep. It's going to take fucking years. So what do? You take the fight to the people who are bringing you the fight. That's where your energy needs to be exerted, because that's where you will prevail, by taking down the people who are suppressing you. The sheep aren't suppressing me. The sheep are just depressing. So why exert your energy on people who don't want to listen? It's down to them. The moment that right, people are going to acknowledge when they start seeing, MPs and all of this kind of stuff getting questioned. People adepts doing actions. And of course, we all have mobile phones now, so we document it, put it online, it will soon become viral. And the one thing that sheep hate is being left out. They hate being left out. So it's only a matter of time before majority of people stop wearing masks, or before majority of people stop closing up. It needs to be like a domino effect. So leading by example is the best way to wake up people, because eventually there'll be only a very small majority that will not want to feel left out, so they'll have no choice but to submit to looking at information, to waking their asses up.
Yeah, it's up to, yeah, you're right. You can't make anybody wake up. You can only go with people who are awake. But even a lot of us, they talk the talk and they don't walk the walk, Ashita. Even flat earthers.
Mm,
There's still a lot of egos and all
yeah.
sorts of weird things going on, even when you think you're awake.
Oh, 100%. Even within the work community, I've seen so many crazy egos coming out. And I'm just thinking, really, a time right now when we all need to be like united, and there's this division and squabbles. And that was quite disappointing, because I really had hoped that we could have united a lot stronger earlier on, if it wasn't for these egos coming in and trying to sort of dominate, saying that, oh, I don't know, I've just seen a lot of egos over the last several months that has caused a bit of a division. It's a shame, but
People think they're awake, but they're not as awake as they think they are. And a lot of people, they don't mind going down and telling you what to do, but they're watching television and they're doing all sorts of things. You need to turn the television off. And when you wake up, you just don't want these things in your life. You won't be voting, and it goes on.
yeah. I mean, I think all we can do is those that do come and ask for information, of course, help them. I always say help them because we all know how difficult it is when it comes to censorship, but the individual needs to be ready to look for that information, and if they can't find that information, they'll come to you and say, "Hey, I'm trying to find this. Can you help me with this? Or can you send me a couple of links?" And that's where people like you and me and others need to not, be too quick to say, "Oh, you must be stupid. How can you not find this information?" Or like brush them off. I think that's where we really need to help those, because there's been quite a few people. So the one thing that I do on a daily basis is I post at least 3 posts every morning, speaking against the narrative. Anything that's regarding the mainstream media and the trusted politicians saying something, I will use their information to help wake people up. I'm not looking for likes. I'm not looking for anything. I've literally opened up my Facebook to the world and just thought, well, if they take my channel page down, then what's the point? So I might as well use that platform. And I'll just post 3 things every single morning, and I'll get people that inbox me and saying, "Hey, I didn't really even know this," or telling me about how they're feeling, and that's my way of waking up people, helping wake people up without shoving it down their throat. It's on my Facebook. It's as simple as that. So I'm not shoving it in anyone's face, but my Facebook is now dedicated to
that. Well done, my darling.
So that's all I can do, because as I said, if I was to sit down and try and speak to every single individual, I would be exhausted and just drained. My energy would be drained. It's draining enough trying to look for the right information to post. So that's the least I can do. That's because it's like I've not given up on helping people wake up, but I'm not.
The thing is, you can only have so much patience, can't you? And I mean, maybe 4 years ago, that's what our main aim was, to try and wake up as many people as possible. But in the end, you're right. All you can do is put your information out and hope people resonate with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I say, the bigger fight is happening, and waking up people is not the fight. That the time has been and gone for that. It's now time to take the fight to the people that are really trying to suppress us in ways that we've never seen before. And that's where our energy and focus needs to be on. That's where it's always been. It's always been leading to this. So
yeah, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. Do you want to go on a bit longer?
We could go on a little bit longer.
What else would you like to say?
I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at with the whole scenario. I think what I am hoping for is just to see more of a proactive change, like more of a stance. A little bit of rebellion, a little bit of carnage. I don't mean like rioting and going and looting places and stuff. Blocking a road, something. Something that's going to hurt their wallets a little bit, make them squirm. I don't know. I just want to see a little bit of them suffering and not us suffering all the time. So that's pretty much.
I know we've had to do it in silence as well, haven't we? Really?
Huh?
I know that you go down to Speaker's Corner and stuff like that, but we're generally doing it in silence. Outside.
Yeah, and this is the thing. We need to make some noise. We need to bring a bit of attention. Like, something needs to happen where, the world is going to be like, oh, what's the UK doing? And honestly, like when I saw the Thailand protest, there was well over 1 million people on that down protesting. all wear masks, but they had a lot of people that blocked the roads. You know, we're talking both sides of the roads. There was definitely no cars moving for days, because I think the protests went on for a couple of days, and that's what we need to do. We need to make some noise, so it's difficult for them to be able to get into their offices and do their jobs. It's going to be difficult for them to bring in the newspapers for the next morning to give us more propaganda, you know? That's the kind of noise that we need to be making.
Well, the streets will be empty. I mean, since they've announced the lockdown, I don't hear any sirens, any traffic, any people. Everybody is quite quiet.
Oh my God! Here in London, it's different. There's constantly sirens going off, and I mean, after 9 o'clock, it is pretty dead. But yeah, the police force, I don't know if it's police or ambulances.
I think they're ambulances, but nowadays they sound like they're ambulances, but they sound like police cars. I know what you mean. You're like, is that an ambulance or a police car? But I think they're ambulances. Well, they were. I haven't heard an ambulance in days now. Do you know why that is?
Well, that's
Hopefully,
the thing.
that's because a lot of people don't want the CV thing. I'm staying in my house, I'm staying away from everything, because the sirens have really... I'm not that close to a main road, but if one was going, I'd hear it here. Hello? Yeah, you're back now. You back? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Although I'm not overly close to a road, but if a siren went, I'd hear it. Well, last weekend I could hear loads of them. For the last few days, none. Not one.
Well, I honestly, I just want to wait until Thursday and see what happens after that, because the days leading up to it, I mean, we've only got, what, 1 more day? 2 more days.
Yeah.
And it really does hinge on how people behave on that day, how the police behave on that day, how businesses behave on that day. It's all hinging on that, on the 5th.
What, you mean if they take no notice?
Businesses, yeah, think about it. What will happen if small businesses say, no, screw you, I'm not going to close up? What will the police do? They can't, you know, go around to every single business and try and find them and, you know, enforce them to shut down, because that's just chaos. What happens when people don't want to be locked up in their houses and are still traveling and going out and doing what they want? What will happen then? So I honestly believe it does just hinge on Thursday and how people behave and react. And I think as long as people do not comply, we have a very strong chance of, you know, really making these criminals accountable for what they've done. But if everybody complies, if the majority comply, especially business owners, then we're screwed. We are totally fucking screwed.
Basically, the self-employed businesses, the small businesses and self-employed have been extremely hit right now. If they go into the second one, then we are going to... Well, food's doing okay, isn't it? Those kind of businesses. Takeaways will be all right. But if they go into it, we're going to struggle really to come out, because they're basically taking the economy away.
No, that was always the intention. They plan to do that so they can implement. They can't implement their track and trace and their BS system.
I don't know anybody that does it. They say, I put the wrong telephone number in. I forget. I tell them I've forgotten my phone.
I don't think I've used the system at all.
I haven't either, but I've almost thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to use it, and then someone else jumps in. I go, fine, you do it then. I don't want to do it. I think this is going to go on for months, because they've got us into lockdown on a 6-week thing, or 4 weeks, but then a headline came in today saying this is going to go on for months.
Well, it depends on, like I say, how people behave on Thursday. If people put up enough resistance, it's not going to go on for months. But if they just happily comply and say, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Really annoying, Ashita? They told us, first of all, bats got it. Then they told us that it only survives in cold temperatures. It's quite warm in the UK still for November at the moment. Yeah, we're doing all this. I hear China's not going into a lockdown.
Well, Sweden never went into lockdown and they still haven't, so that should tell everyone everything.
Yeah, there's a few countries that aren't. But it is. Someone said it's the takedown of the West.
Well, I think it's more so the takedown of America than anything else. I think America is where they're trying to hit. That's where all the tension is. That's where all the civil unrest is happening right now. It's
Do you know where that
here
is,
in the
though?
UK.
That's because they've got guns.
Mm.
So the people have guns.
Of course.
So they can't just wade into these people because they get their guns out. Because they have that
Yeah,
in their
of course they will.
constitution, don't they? That if they don't feel
If
happy
we
with
had
the
guns,
government.
if we had guns, do you think they'd be messing with us this time round? Hell, fuck no.
No, but
Honestly,
they
I
have
wouldn't,
it in
but
their
they mess-
constitution, don't they, in America, that they can oust the government of the day.
Yeah, and that's the same. We should be able to do that as well. I mean, I don't condone weapons. I don't condone ever having to use them. But fortunately, we live in a world where we have really fucking horrible criminals that do not care about us. They wouldn't give a second's thought whether whatever they try and implement on us is going to impact us in a bad way or not. They don't care. And I think the sooner the people wake up to that realization and just go and remove them physically, remove them, physically arrest them. Citizens arrest is still a thing that we can legally do, lawfully do. So I don't see why we just don't band together, go to these people's houses. It's not hard to find their addresses and go arrest them. You know, take them to the police station, build evidence against them. It's no different. Like a private investigator will build up a case, and if they have enough evidence, they'll take it to the police, and the police will take action. So it's kind of the same as what we need to do. We've built up enough cases over the years.
Well, did you know something? I heard this. I don't know whether this is something different, but when obviously a lot of us woke up from 9/11. Well, this guy supposedly didn't pay his television license, and he went to court on it. He wanted to be taken to court because he wanted to tell the judge, and the judge agreed with him that how could Building 7 come down and they're announcing it before it's come down? That means that the BBC must have had prior knowledge, and that was terrorism. So basically this person said everybody needs to go to the police about that 9/11, but we didn't. So you might find the same thing again, but the people need to wake up, and I don't know quite how we do it because we're stretched over so many countries now. We're not all in one country.
But we're all fighting against the same thing. We're all fighting the same thing. That's what people need to wake up and smell the coffee and realize. The sooner that's done, the quicker we can remove these people. Honestly, it really is down to us.
On that video then with that Irish lady when she said they're all going to prison. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's the most. That's the only video that I've seen in months that's been really uplifting for me. I did a post about it this morning, and I didn't even need to say anything. I was just like, and I'll leave it at that. Do I need to say anything else? Who
is she, just by the way? Because obviously it's on Sun and Moon now. It's the last video before this hangout goes up. But who is she? I didn't see that because it came through on Library. It just said Proof. That's all the video was called, Proof.
She's part of the Dublin freedom fighters. So I know she's been based up in Dublin, like dealing with the doctors. Can't remember her name, but I'll post a video to you for you to see.
Okay, do it afterwards because it just ping on the phone. Does that mean that Nora? Does that mean that Nora knows her and stuff? Are they the same?
I think anyone who is based in Northern Ireland or who has visited up there would know who she is.
Right.
Just give me a second. See if there's. So she's part of the activist toolbox.
Right. Well, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, no, a lot of people have been posting that today. I've seen Activist Toolbox. Let's see if I can get her name, Activist Toolbox. Yeah, a lot of people did repost that and share, but at the same time, I've also heard that most people were not able to share that. Like the video was being taken off their phones or their YouTube, or they were getting strikes on Facebook. So, but I don't know. I've not had an issue. I posted it this morning. No one's tried to take it down.
I didn't actually put the video up of her standing there. I just put her words on it, and every time she mentioned, Lyris, I put Lyris on top.
Yeah, I don't even bother with
I know, but on YouTube, you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I don't bother with YouTube when it comes to that stuff, because I just know they're going to take it down straight away. So it's not worth the hassle. Really not worth the hassle. Okay, I cannot find it. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to post the details to you and try and find it that way.
That's all right. I mean, I do have her words up. I just wanted to know her name. But anyway, at least there's some people out there trying to help more and more, which is great. Sheeta, we've been going for an hour and 35 minutes. Do you think that's enough?
Yeah, sure. Can always come back on at a different time, maybe after Thursday.
See, I didn't eat you, did I? I didn't eat you. You're a bit shy about coming on, maybe, but I'm all right. And it was nice, Gary.
No, yeah, no, it's not just that. It's not that. It's I don't normally do these hangouts. So
right.
For me, I'm like I don't know what to say half the time.
You've done very well, my dear. Opinion. Very, very well indeed. I'm sure loads of people will resonate with what you said this evening.
No, I mean, I enjoyed it. Like, it was a good chat, and yeah, no, let's speak after Thursday once.
Okay, well, if I stop
craziness,
if I stop the recording, but don't leave the phone call. But thank you very much, Ashita. Gary.
No, thank you. And Gary, bye.
Yeah, bye everybody.